could be within the room, but clinical oversight is if a problem arises, how would you actually deal with it? So if someone did get an infection, someone, you know, you accidentally, if you did block an artery, it's very, very rare, but you need to work with clinical oversight how to actually resolve it also. So, you know, that's why it's important to work with clinical oversight. Also with your products as well, if you're using botulinum toxin on a client, there needs to be a face-to-face prescription.
Yeah.
So it used to be remote prescribing, but now it's a face-to-face. So that client will be assessed by the prescriber to make sure there's nothing medically that interacts you know, with having the treatment. So a lot of the responsibility actually lies on the prescriber as well, you know, when they're making that decision. But as far as dermal fillers, they're not prescription. So you can obtain it from the pharmacy, you can obtain it from us also, but always work with hyaluronic acid based fillers that can be reversed. To reverse hyaluronic acid, what product would you use?
Hyalase.
And how would you obtain it?
Through the prescriber.
Yeah, because it's prescription, it's
Yeah.
POM. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of products that we use are POM, which is why it's important. Even if you're a non-prescribing nurse, it's exactly the same. You need to work with clinical oversight. People are talking about levels of training. So we've got level 4, we've got level 5, we've got 6 and 7. And the modalities have been set by HEE. So there's different starting points. So level 4 would cover IPL laser and other treatments that we deliver. Level 5, 6 and 7 is bringing in the injectable HA products and also botulinum toxin. So in order for us to get you to that qualification by 2018, we would need to have off-call recognition to enable you to gain entry onto the 2 registers that are being formed. And the 2 registers that are being formed are the JCCP and the CSA.
Okay.
So one is for medics and one is for non-medics.
CSA is for non-medics.
Yeah, so even if you were a nurse and you hadn't registered your PIN, you would still need to go on the non-medical register. It's voluntary also, so you don't have to join, but one of the key areas that's been discussed within the JCCP is that if you don't join the register, the public should know that, you know, the practitioners that are delivering these treatments aren't to a level 6 and 7, and also key players within the industry, which is manufacturers, even clinical oversight, they shouldn't work with practitioners who haven't met that standard of training, because there is a lot of underpinning knowledge that is missing from practitioners' training. So really, the whole industry needs to come together so that there's longer, safer training. Also, you need to have CPD. So just because you've trained and you've done, you know, say 5 days, 7 days of training, that's not your training. It doesn't end there. You need to carry on with your own professional development. There's not one way of doing things, there's hundreds of ways of doing things. And as tutors and assessors, we keep up with our CPD every year also, so that we can pass on them new skills onto you also. So one of the other arguments, again, and one of the big things which I think is important, is emergency situations.
Yeah.
So within our training, you're covered in first aid anaphylaxis. Vasovagal response can happen sometimes where, especially in training, you know, once a week we get someone that faints, but we need to know how to deal with it. Anaphylaxis, it's very rare, but you are trained. You have the skills to recognise what it is, you know, and what your protocol is to follow should that happen. Also, if you occlude vessels, we have many images which are shown in training about occlusions of 2 types of vessels, one being a vein, one being an artery.